It's time for the Aaero review for the Nintendo Switch. I remember looking through the Nintendo eShop hoping to find a good deal on something new. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of deals just about, if not every day, but too many can present you with the paradox of choice. However, I found this game and decided to give it a try. Was it worth it? Let's find out. If you know me, I highly enjoy rhythm games, so I was surprised to find out that I had never heard of this game, even though at the time of this review, it had been out for nearly 2 years on other platforms. The concept is simple, yet challenging. You're an on-rail ship that must fly from point A to point B, all the while playing a song, so to speak, in the form of tracking ribbons. Ribbons are neon lines that release the music when you fly through them. They will bend and spiral in specific patterns as they pertain to each song. You move the ship with the left analog stick, and trying to track the ribbons can be harder than it looks. No matter the patterns of the ribbons, they are all located on the outer circle of where you can move your ship. This is a good thing because if they were anywhere else, or more specifically, if they were located anywhere between the center of the screen and the outer circle of where you can move your ship, it would become superfluously difficult as your ship will recenter itself by default if you let go of the analog stick. The ribbons are important for several reasons, including releasing the music, obtaining a high multiplier, and staying alive. You can't not follow the ribbons and expect to complete the level. Following ribbons is only half the battle, literally. Many enemies will pop up on screen and you'll have to shoot them down before they get ya. Defeating enemies isn't too hard once you get the hang of it. What I mean is, you'll have to lock onto an enemy with the right analog stick and press ZR to shoot them down. Your ship has a limited number of lock-ons, so you'll have to coordinate which enemies and their projectiles need to be taken down first. Another challenge is when your ship actually fires onto enemies. Every element of the game is about the music. You need to time your shots so they match with the beat of the song, otherwise it can take a bit for the enemies to blow up after you fire your shots. The game rewards you with extra points though if you match your shots with the beats. The real challenge of the game comes when you try to follow ribbons while simultaneously shooting down enemies. You won't find this too much on normal difficulty, but you definitely will in higher tiers. There's a handful of songs that have physical, rhythmic obstacles that you must maneuver around. I really enjoyed them, and the only downside is that not every song has these challenges. One annoyance is your reticle won't show up unless you move the right analog stick. This is annoying because many times enemies will show up dead center of the screen, yet your ship won't lock onto them because you haven't moved the stick yet. Now I know it wouldn't be fair for the reticle to constantly sit in the middle of the screen, as enemies who show up in the middle would be locked onto immediately, but to fix this, enemies shouldn't appear in the center to begin with. When they do, it can feel like you're fighting a bit with the reticle because all you have to do is flick the analog stick to make it appear and lock on, but it wants to move back to the center of the screen and disappear when you let go. At the end of the level, you'll be awarded with a certain amount of stars based on how many points you earned. Your total points are determined by ribbon accuracy and how many enemies you took down. In addition to enemies, semi-hidden red lights scattered throughout each level are fun to find and shoot down. However, you only get a small window of opportunity to do so. Many times the song will be over, and so you think you're finished, and oh shoot, I missed that one! Gotta restart, hold on a second. Got it. So the main element of this game is of course the music. All of it is a mixture of different subgenres of EDM, but mostly dubstep, drum and bass, and chill out. If that's not your bag, man, then you might not enjoy it as much as those who get their freak on with these songs. I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan of dubstep, but after playing some dubstep levels, it kind of works and you start to feel the groove. Graphically, it doesn't look as good as say on the PS4 or PC, however I feel like performance would suffer if they kept the visuals like they are on the other platforms. So it's good in that sense, however there are some areas you can't help but notice the downgrade. There's actually a few boss fights which add some flair to the mix. These bad boys are fun to take down, and I thought it was clever how if you don't defeat them in time, you'll receive a different outcome, like with this giant worm, you'll be eaten by it if you don't kill it. The game is surprisingly generous though when it comes to progressing through the list of songs. You don't actually have to defeat a boss to unlock more songs, all you need are enough stars, and it honestly doesn't take that much to do so. I'd say the biggest problem with the game is the load times. Now if you lose your 3 lives during a song and restart, it's not too long of a wait. However, when first choosing a song, you'll be waiting for it to load usually between 30 and 45 seconds. Like, really? That's ridiculous! The Switch version gives you all the DLC up front, which includes 6 additional songs, totaling the list to 21 songs, and more ships. The ships don't play differently from one another, but it's still nice to have. Aaero is a fun, unique rhythm game experience. It's nice to come across a rhythm game that focuses on the analog input more so than the digital. I hope it gains ground to the point where the developers will either add more DLC or even a sequel. 21 songs of mostly dubstep and drum and bass isn't enough to keep me coming back to it as much as I have done with other rhythm games like FreQuency and the two Amplitude games. Aaero only has a few songs that I really enjoyed, but that doesn't make the game bad, as someone who enjoys dubstep and drum and bass more than I do would probably like this game even more. It's still a nice change-up to the rhythm genre, and one I think you should give a try. This game gets a 3.75 out of 5 with a title of good.